Hi, welcome to Zaba's Corner. Today I have a food for thought for us, even as I continue through my journey with First Samuel. So I am still on First Samuel 17, and the food for thought I'm drawing from 32 verses 32 through 37. So a quick summary of those verses: David has had his running with his brother on the front line. Somebody has gone and told the king, see what this lad is asking. He's been going around asking about Goliath. And so the king calls David, and David boldly declares before the king that he will go and fight the Philistine. The king, Saul, tells him, well, you can't fight him, you're only a boy, so on and so forth. And in verses 34, 35, and 36, he recounts his past experiences of fighting essentially enemies stronger than him, lions and bears, and how he had gone after them with little to no equipment, really, beating them to death, rescued his father's sheep, and he acknowledged that God was the one who was with him during those battles. And finally, the king says, okay, sure, go on ahead, may the Lord be with you. So that's pretty much a summary of the verses. And just reading through it, essentially David learned to tackle enemies that were stronger than him during that period. And those events, I believe, helped him to build his faith in God, which was why he was so bold before the king and before the other soldiers. He learned a lot through those past events, which most certainly I don't think was comfortable for him. Nobody sees a lion and is all cheery and hunky-dory. There must have been fright and a fear, but he also learned to build his courage, his boldness in facing tough situations during that period. It brings me to what I want us to think about, which is our past experiences and how they shape how we move in the present and how we think of our future. I mean, my takeaway from here is the past happens for a reason. There is something for us to learn from past events, no matter how painful the past has been, no matter how uncomfortable, how terrible, there is a lesson there, something to equip us for today and tomorrow. I truly believe sometimes, or a lot of the times, whatever we've gone through, whatever issues or situations we've gone through, are not only there for us to learn something from, but also to encourage someone. Unfortunately, a lot of us go through a tough time and work so hard to forget the past that we also throw away whatever it is we're supposed to learn. So, for example, I know people who have gone through terrible relationships. I mean, they were in relationships where they were physically abused and mentally abused, and or went through all sorts of things and have managed to come out on the other end, moving on with their lives, and then work so hard to forget what they've gone through that unfortunately, when they get into relationships again, they've gotten into relationships with pretty much the same kind of person they went through a tough time with, like somebody with the same characteristics, with the same traits. And that's because, just all the lessons of the past, I believe, got thrown away. The past happens so that we're equipped with a weapon to fight whatever we may encounter later on. It teaches us a lesson, or it could be practice for what is coming ahead. So, for example, with David fighting the lions and the bears and so on, was practice for what was coming with Goliath and other future challenges he had. So I don't believe in throwing away the past and working so hard to forget it that you just whatever there is to mine out of there just gets thrown away. I do know that for a lot of us, our past is so painful that we don't want to remember it. And in cases like that, I think we need the help of a therapist, a professional, maybe a pastor, somebody that can safely guide us through looking at the past and finding the lesson we're supposed to glean from it. Everything happens for a reason. The goal shouldn't just to be throw it away. Don't remember it. I mean, it sounds weird, but even when I've gone through it, it's taken me a while. It's not comfortable to do. But some of my most uncomfortable experiences, some of the most painful parts of my past, I have gone through to see, well, what can I do better? What have I learned from this situation? How can I make sure it does not happen in the present? And if it does happen in the present, how do I fight it? How do I change it? Going through my past and looking at it has helped me to be who I am today, has helped me to realize, okay, I will and will not tolerate this. I can identify XYZ in such a person. I don't want this in my life. I want this, or this is how I'm going to move differently, or these are the tools I need to make sure this never happens again, so on and so forth. The past can be very informative. The past can help us even identify our deficiencies to make sure that we have a better today and most certainly a better tomorrow. And so that's what I want us to think about. So that is the food for thought for us. What past are you running away from? And if you go back and look, can you find the lessons in that past? Don't throw it away. Seriously. Don't throw it away. With the help of God, let's go through it. Through our past, find the lessons and forge ahead for a better tomorrow. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And as always, remain blessed.